Every great venture, every big idea, it all starts with a spark. But to turn that spark into a real, lasting fire, you need more than just passion. You need a blueprint. And today, that's what we're going to do. We're decoding the blueprint of business itself, the art and science of how we organize to win.
All right, let's kick things off with a question that, it probably haunts every entrepreneur out there. You've got a game-changing concept, a brilliant team, maybe you even have the funding. So why? Why do so many truly great ideas still fail?
Well, more often than you'd think, the answer is kind of hidden in plain sight. It's in the structure. It's not really about what the idea is, but how it's brought to life. The failure isn't in the vision. It's in the very organization that was built to make it happen. And that, right there, brings us to the core idea of this whole thing. Having a solid organization isn't just some nice-to-have corporate jargon. It's the absolute backbone of effective management. It's the invisible framework that lets a company actually function, grow, and at the end of the day, succeed. Just think about it for a second. When you have a well-designed structure, it creates this incredible cascade of benefits. It lets people specialize, right? Which naturally just boosts efficiency. It makes sure you put the right talent in the right jobs. And then, suddenly, you've got everyone pulling in the same direction. This creates stability, sure, but it also gives the company the flexibility it needs to adapt and grow. Okay, so how do you actually build this thing, this backbone? Well, it's not magic, right? It's a super deliberate process, just like an architect drawing up a blueprint for a skyscraper. And that blueprint has 5 absolutely crucial steps. So, you start by dividing up all the work. Then you group those jobs together logically. After that, you assign duties to people. You give them the authority they need to actually act. And finally, and this is key, you coordinate all of those moving parts. Let's dig into what each of those really means. All right, first up, division of work. The concept here is super simple. You just can't have one person trying to do everything. It's impossible. So the very first step is always to take that massive goal and break it down into smaller, manageable, and really specific jobs. So why bother with this? Because dividing up the work is what allows for specialization. Think about a construction site, right? You have electricians, plumbers, and carpenters for a very good reason. It's the exact same in business. You need marketers, engineers, accountants, each one focusing on what they do best. And that focus, that's where you get real skill and incredible efficiency. Okay, so you've got all these specialized jobs figured out, but you can't just leave them floating around, right? The next logical step is to group them together. This is a process that's often called departmentation. Sounds fancy, but it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple, really. You just bring similar, related tasks together under one roof, so to speak. All the sales jobs, they go into the sales department. All the finance jobs, well, they go into the finance department. This creates that basic, logical structure of the company, and it makes everything so much easier to manage and coordinate. All right, so we've broken down the work, we've created our departments, now we hit step 3, and this is where the human element really comes into play. It's time to assign these duties to actual people. And listen, this can't be a random process. The whole goal here is to find that perfect match. It's about looking at someone's qualifications, their experience, their natural talents, and putting them in a role where they're not just going to be effective for the company, but where they're going to feel fulfilled themselves. Now, this next step, oh man, it is absolutely critical. You've given someone a job, you've assigned them duties, but can they actually do it? Well, not without authority they can't. This step is all about empowering them to get the job done. Think about it. Giving someone a task is totally meaningless if you don't also give them the power to get it done, the power to make decisions, to use resources, and to see it all the way through. It's this very act of delegating authority that builds the entire hierarchy, that chain of command that clearly defines who reports to whom. Okay, let's recap. We have specialized jobs, we've got organized departments, we have the right people in those jobs, and they have the authority to act. So what's left? The final step is making sure it all actually works together like a well-oiled machine. And that, my friends, is coordination. This is where you synchronize everybody's efforts. You make sure the relationships between roles are crystal clear so people know who to talk to and how communication flows. This is really the glue, the final piece that turns a bunch of individual jobs into a powerful, unified team, all working towards one common goal. All right, now that we've walked through the 5 steps, let's kind of zoom out and look at the big picture designs.
When you're grouping all those jobs, there are really two main blueprints you can follow: a functional structure or a divisional structure. And right here, you can really see the trade-offs in action. A functional structure, organized by departments like marketing or sales, it's super economical and helps build really deep expertise. This is perfect for, say, a company that makes one main thing. Now, on the other hand, you have a divisional structure. This is organized around different products. Think of a giant like Procter & Gamble, with divisions for beauty, grooming, and healthcare. This creates product specialists and makes it super easy to see which product line is making money. But it can get really expensive when you start duplicating roles, like having a separate marketing team for every single division. But here's where things get really interesting. See, no matter what beautiful official blueprint you draw up, there's always another one that grows right alongside it, organically. Every single company actually has two structures: the formal one on the org chart and the informal one that's built on human relationships. And wow, the contrast is pretty stark, isn't it? The formal organization is all planned out, it's rigid, and it's focused on the company's goals. Managers lead because their title says so. But the informal one? It just pops up out of friendships and common interests. It's flexible, totally unpredictable, and its leaders are chosen by the group, not appointed by the company. If you really want to know how stuff gets done in a company, you have to understand both of these structures. So let's circle back to that idea of power we touched on a minute ago. The way authority flows through an organization is really defined by two key concepts: delegation and the much broader strategy of decentralization. So when you boil it all down, delegation is a really specific action. It's a manager handing off a piece of their own work to someone who reports to them. It is a fundamental tool for any leader who doesn't want to get bogged down doing everything themselves. The legendary management guru Henri Fayol absolutely nailed it when he said this. He said, authority is the right to give orders and the power to exact obedience. It's not just about making suggestions. It's the official right to give a command and the power to expect it to be carried out. That's exactly what's being handed over when a manager delegates. And getting this distinction right is so, so important. Delegation is a necessary person-to-person act that has to happen for a manager to function. Decentralization, on the other hand, is a big company-wide strategic choice to intentionally push authority down to the lowest possible levels. Maybe think of it like this. Delegation is a tactic a manager uses. Decentralization, that's a whole company philosophy. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a final thought. Look at any organization you know. Maybe it's your own workplace. Think about its blueprint. Is its structure the way power flows? Is it all designed for tight control and predictability? Or is it designed to foster autonomy, flexibility, and creativity? And the answer to that question, well, it pretty much reveals everything you need to know.